23rd. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Here.
Mr. Westmeyer?
Here.
Mr. McGarry?
Here.
Mayor?
Here.
Mr. Titterington?
Here.
Mr. Wolke?
Here.
Mr. Cappers?
I'm here.
Okay. All members are present.
Okay, we've got our minutes of January 26th meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions to those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. McGarry, Mr. Westmeyer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next matter on the agenda is the Historic District application for 2 East Main Street. Does staff have a report?
Yes, sir. So this is a request by applicant Connor Aaron for the Planning Commission to consider installation of outdoor seating for the property at 2 East Main Street. The property is zoned B3 Central Business District and is located on the southeast corner of the public square. It's important to note that the Planning Commission previously approved this request on April 22nd of 2020. This will include a black railing, 3 feet 6
I'm
inches.
there, just a minute, I'm sorry. We approved it in April of 2020,
Yep,
and it's back before now because it's expired.
it's expired.
So now we
1 year.
treat it as a new application.
New application.
Okay.
If that's correct. So there'll be a total of 25 black chairs and 8 tables. Staff recommends approval based on the following. The proposed seating and design meet the City of Troy requirements. The proposed modifications will not detract from the historic integrity of the building. The proposed modifications are temporary in nature and may be removed without harming the historic building.
Any questions of staff? Mr. McGarry.
I was over there yesterday, just kind of pacing this thing off, and I think 9 feet 7 inches is a lot of room, and probably more than adequate, but there's a tree in there, and is there a fire plug?
Yeah, there's electric.
Yeah, there's a number of items in the way there, and he's not put the fence up before, has he?
He is not.
Yeah, I know the tables were there, and with the tables there was still room for maneuvering. I just kind of question how much space is going to be there between the fence and some of those obstacles.
So between the fence and the center of the tree is 7 feet, for a total feet of between the railing and the curb, 9 foot 7 inches.
I do a lot of walking downtown with my wife, and walking side by side, we're probably looking at
4.5, 5 feet.
closer to
Minimum.
5.5 feet probably, to go ahead and walk and have a conversation with a person. Agave ride, for instance, you can't do that, okay?
Right.
In this case, you've got 2 trees that impact. You've got an electrical bollard, I think it's pronunciation, a garbage can, and those trees during the spring and summer are going to have limbs that grow out, so that's going to impact where you're walking. They've got grates you'd have to walk on. I just don't think it's enough room for pedestrians to pass through there comfortably.
I would think the trees should be trimmed up over head level, so I don't.
Well, they always are.
Yeah, I don't think tree limbs are gonna,
And you've done that, who's done that for Agave Ride? Because that hasn't happened over there.
and maybe we need to address that with Jeremy.
You better get on the park board. and do one.
The trees need to be kept trimmed up above head level.
Yeah, that just doesn't happen.
It needs to happen.
So Agave and Ride came under the 4-foot clearance requirement. We changed in 2020 to allow for 6-foot clearance. So we increased it by 2 feet since Agave and Rice came in.
Yeah. I mean, I like the business, I do. I don't mind having some outside seating, but you're not only taking it away because of the impediments there, but you're also, the plan calls for, I can't read it that much, but there's also a planter of some sort hooked onto the fence, and that's got to take, well, the one on Agave Ride is a good 12 inches.
This looks like it's just on top of the posts.
I'll say it doesn't go out that far.
Mhm.
I
If you look at this picture now,
I like the idea of having more seating out there. I don't think it's up.
I wonder if they could squeeze it in a foot closer to the building.
A foot will go a long way to helping out that area.
Maybe we
I
make
mean,
it
if this is,
conditional for 10 feet.
I'm assuming this is to scale. It looks like it's an architecture an architectural drawing. So if those, I guess, horizontal two-seaters against the railing, between that and the four-seater tables, it looks like there's a pretty wide aisle there. I wonder if losing a foot wouldn't be possible.
How is the sidewalk there compared to by the Caroline? Is it going to be about the same?
There's a picture if you want to pass that around of that area. That's a model I hired from California to come out and take that picture.
Did you get her permission?
Oh, I knew I forgot something.
Because she looks like mine.
Yeah, I would recommend we do see if they can move it back a foot. If the tables are where they had them during last summer, the COVID, whatever you want to say, the spacing was more than adequate at the time.
We had to walk through the tables.
Yes.
Yeah, usually you do.
And this would
You have
squeeze
two
it
rows of
in.
tables and you go right in between them.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Oh, that looks
But,
good.
you know, so I understand why, and I think it's a great idea to put the fencing up, but, and I do support that outdoor dining. But, is there a way we can ask them if they can move it back a foot just because of the obstacles?
Well, we can do an approval upon the condition of type of thing, or we can deny and have them make a reapply.
I'm okay with doing a condition.
Yeah, I think a conditional, everybody's in agreement with that.
Is that a motion?
You know, the other thing,
Okay, go ahead.
the other thing that may help also, we haven't had a significant snowfall for a while, other than, what, 2 weeks ago. It gives the crew a little bit of place to put some of the snow until they get a chance to load it out too.
But this isn't permanent. Right?
It's gonna be,
It's
I
permanent.
mean, it's permanent, but it's just like Caroline and Agave and Roseville.
So the fencing is into the concrete?
Sure.
Oh, okay, I didn't see it that way.
Yeah, we wouldn't want it to
So
be.
it comes out how far from the wall, Austin?
11 foot 8 inches.
And then how much is on the other side of it, to the curb?
To the curb is 9 feet 7 inches. And then if you're doing it from the edge of the railing to the center of the tree is 7 feet.
How much from the railing to the beginning of the storm grate for the trees?
My dog won't walk across the stone
Oh,
grates.
yeah.
Probably five and a half, 6.
We're probably about 6 feet.
Yeah.
So we're about 6 feet with the edge of the
I
grate.
like the idea of a conditional permission with giving us another foot.
I do too.
Is that a motion?
I make a motion that we approve it conditionally with another foot.
Moving it in.
So it'll be 10
Closer to
foot
the
8
building.
inches. The depth of the railing would then be 10 foot 8
And
inches.
what is it proposed now?
11 foot 8 inches.
Okay.
No, that's better. Okay.
I just, well,
So I'll
I mean,
second that.
you've conditioned people to be outside. You condition them to have space, and then we're gonna crunch the space
Did you get that?
around the tables, even though, I mean, everybody's pushing for space. It doesn't,
Yes,
I
and.
mean, how much traffic really walks by there at one time, all the time? Really, I mean, there's that much?
Yeah, that's a
there's
busy
traffic, and we
corner.
know that.
You'd be bothered if you couldn't walk
And-
One
2 by
foot.
2.
Yeah,
And I've already had a conversation with another business owner.
testify.
That wouldn't bother me. I mean,
It wouldn't bother me, and 1 foot doesn't increase it that much.
there's less feet over by the agave, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, no,
And people get by there just fine.
Well,
Yeah.
not just
not,
mine.
not too, not too.
We have to go out in the gutter.
Yeah, no, it is tight for 2 people.
That, it gives me a break from my husband, and we come
All right.
back together after we get back.
And there's not as much,
This is on, you know, we are.
Did you hear that, Scott?
Video.
Agave and Wright doesn't have as much traffic. You've got
I don't
traffic
I
lots
don't
in there.
necessarily agree to take down a
And-
foot, but I understand the group's gonna.
And so, any furniture that goes in the right-of-way is an administrative call, except for permanent things like this. And so, I've already had a conversation, I had another business owner on a different quad come to me and say, you know, if we want to do something like this, will we still be able to have other tables maybe from time to time that we put outside of that railing? And all I told him was, that's possible, but, you know, we'd want to see where you were talking about. I mean, it is public right of way, so it's like, you know, somebody can't claim the parking spot in front of their curb because it's available for everybody. It's kind of the same concept, but we would want to work with the other property owners to see if it's, you know, kind of inconveniencing them, number one. It's a walking hazard, or it meets any of the other conditions where we can't do it. But there may be some flexibility there. I don't know if that'll work here, but certainly if we were to approve this and we have concerns about it, once it's approved and it's in the ground, it's pretty permanent. So I'd rather give them a little flexibility on the administrative side if they want to put a bistro table out during a special event and it's outside the railing, but out of the way and not, you know, impacting foot traffic, just on a case by case.
Go ahead, Mr.
Do we know how much space is in between the tables?
I do not have that dimension.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I want to make sure I understand what the motion is. We are making a motion to increase the walking way by 1 foot. In other words, backing the fence up by 1 foot
Towards the building.
toward the building.
Correct.
Okay.
So the motion would be to go ahead and approve the application for the installation of outdoor seating and the fence, as long as the fence is 1 foot less farther out into the right of way.
10'8", not 11'8".
Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Westmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. McGarry,
Yes.
Mayor,
No?
Mr. Titterington,
Yes.
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers.
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Next matter is rezoning of 1125 Ocean Road. Does staff have a report?
Yes, this is a request by Strayer Farms Incorporated for the Planning Commission to consider the rezoning of 1125 Washington Road, in-lot 11463 and in-lot 11464 for a total of 8.13 acres from county zoning of A1 domestic agriculture and A2 general agriculture to R4 single-family residential district. The properties are located on Washington Road, north of West Stanfield Road and south of Newcastle Drive. The total 8.13 acres has a proposed use of a residential subdivision. Surrounding districts include R4 single-family residential district, R3 single-family residential to the north, county zoning of A1 domestic agricultural to the south, and county zoning of A2 general agricultural to the west. The comprehensive plan's future land use map identifies this area for future residential uses. Due to the straightforward nature of this rezoning request, the compliance with the City of Troy comprehensive plan, and the fact that City Council is required to hold a public hearing if the request proceeds on, staff does not feel that a public hearing before the Planning Commission is warranted. The proposed rezoning achieves the desired residential uses as are discussed in the comp plan, as it shows this as future residential. Staff is recommending that the Planning Commission recommend approval to the City Council for the proposed rezoning from county zoning of A2 general agricultural and A1 domestic agricultural to R4 single-family residential based on the following. The proposed rezoning is consistent with the intent and purposes of the City of Troy zoning code. The proposed rezoning is consistent with the surrounding zoning districts, and the use is consistent with permitted uses in the R4 district, and the proposed rezoning is consistent with the comp plan. That'll conclude my staff report.
Any questions of staff? Two matters before us, and one is whether we're going to hold a public hearing. Let's take that issue.
Motion to not hold a public hearing?
I'll second.
There's a motion, Ms. Ehrlich, second. Any further discussion on that issue? Keep in mind, an affirmative answer is going to be not to have a public hearing. Please call the roll.
Mr. McGarry,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Titterington,
Yes.
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers.
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Planning Commission will not hold a public hearing on this rezoning.
Now the recommendation of council concerning the issue before us. Any discussion?
I know the last time I talked to a member of the Board of Education, they did not seem to have a problem with all the additional housing. At some point, it's got to impact them. But apparently not yet. So I'm make a motion, we provide a positive recommendation to the city council.
Is there support for the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by the mayor. Any further discussion? Please call the roll. No, that's you.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Titterington,
Yes?
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers.
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Motion is approved to make a positive recommendation to council.
Staff have anything else to come before the commission?
We do. We have one other item I'd like to discuss. I'm going to take you back in time to 2019, pre-COVID, if we can recall that. We had an application in front of us for the Villages of Concord, a preliminary plan that has since been rendered into a lawsuit in the court of Miami County Common Pleas with the city of Troy and the developer. So I don't want to go into too much detail on that because it is an active case. But we did receive a request from our law director who has asked that the Planning Commission provide a motion to authorize staff to add language to the preliminary plan that was submitted to us. That language would state the words, "See Miami County Common Pleas, case number 2019 CV 00495. This would be added to the plot plan that was presented to us and then delivered to Mr. Hawk if a motion for that would be entertained by the Planning Commission. This is in regards to the court case that is ongoing and then motions that are being filed by our law director on our behalf. So I would ask for a motion if the Planning Commission so pleases.
Court case 2019 CV 00495?
Correct, yep.
It's innocuous. I mean, it doesn't say we approve anything. It doesn't say we disapprove anything. It just says, hey, folks, if you're looking for something, go see the court case. That's all it says.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Wolke, Mr. Titterington, any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Titterington,
Yes?
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers.
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. McGarry,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Staff have anything else to come before the commission?
We do not, thank you.
Commission members want to discuss anything further? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Mr. Westmeyer? Mayor? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?